Alright, back again with another ChatGPT tier list. Today we got survivors rate, but how will they survive on a deserted island? Alright, so starting off we got Dweet. Now I was gonna go ahead and say I don't think Dweet has a survivor instinct to survive in a deserted island. So I'm going to go ahead and put this guy in C tier straight off the bat. Next up, we got Meg. I feel like Meg does have some survivor instinct, so I don't think she would be bad in a deserted island. I think she can actually hold her own. So I'm going to put her up there in A tier. Moving on, we got Claude. Now Claude definitely will survive alone in a deserted island. She will be able to crawl on the plants since she is actually smart. So I'm going to go ahead and put her in S tier. Next up, we got Jake. I'm not entirely sure about this guy. I think his survivor instincts would kick in and he will manage to do something in a deserted island, but I think he would survive for like a couple of days and then he will just lose his sanity most likely. So I'm going to put him in B tier. Next up, we got Nia. Now, I don't think Nia would survive in a deserted island, to be honest. I think she might struggle. But on the bright side, she's very, very smart. She does know how to think for herself, so that's a plus side. So, due to that, I will put her up there next to Meg in A tier. Next up, we got Lori. Now, I do feel like she has what it takes to survive a deserted island. So, I'm just going to go ahead and put her in S tier. Next up, we got Big Boy Ace. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. I highly doubt this guy will manage to survive on a deserted island. So I'm sorry, Ace, but you're going in C tier next to Dweet. Moving on, we got Bill. Bill, 100% he would survive a deserted island alone. Like, this guy has good survivor instincts. So S tier is where this guy is going to go. Moving on, we got Fang. Now, I'm not entirely sure because I feel like she might survive a deserted island, but I also don't think she would last very long. I think maybe a day or two, and that's about it. Similar to Jake here, so I'm going to put her in B tier. Next up, we got David. Moving on, we got Quentin. I feel like Quentin, he would survive, but similar to Fang and Jake, I don't think he would survive for long. So I'm sorry, Quentin, but B tier is where you're going to go, my friend. Moving on, we got App. Now, I think this guy would actually do fine alone in a deserted island. I think he has what it takes. He is a detective as well, so he definitely can like put something together. I guess based on that, A tier is where this guy is going to go. Next up, we got Kate. Now, I think Kate, she would definitely survive alone on a deserted island. I'm pretty sure she has what it takes. I am not going to put her up there in S tier though, just because I think the people in S tier have a much better chance of surviving than her. So A tier is the next best thing. Moving on, we got Adam. Now, I think this guy would manage to do well, but again, similar to Jake, he would last for like about 5 days, maybe a week, and then that's it. So B tier is where this guy is going to go. Moving on, we got Big Boy Jeff.
My name is Jeff.
Now, Jeff, I don't think he will thrive in a deserted island. I highly doubt it. He won't manage to survive. I would actually be surprised if he manages to last 2 days. So C tier is where this guy is going to go. Next up, we got Jane. Now, I don't think Jane would survive for long in a deserted island. I think if she works with someone else, yes. But alone, I think she would struggle. I feel like she would do 4 days at most, and then she would just crumble into pieces. So I'm going to put her up there in B tier. Moving on, we got Ash. I mean, this guy has survived worse than a deserted island, so I'm just going to go ahead and put him in S tier. Moving on, we got Nancy. I feel like Nancy would actually do well in a deserted island here, surprisingly. I think she has what it takes. So I'm going to put her up there in S tier. Moving on, we got Scoops Ahoy, Big Boy Steve.
Ahoy, ladies!
I don't think Steve would do well in a deserted island. I think, okay, if he is with other people, I feel like he would do fine. However, alone, he would struggle a bit, but nothing too crazy. So, A tier is where this guy is going to go. Moving on, we got Yui. Now, Yui, she can definitely handle her own. However, when it comes to surviving on a deserted island, I'm not entirely sure about her skills, but she does have good survivor instincts, so that would probably help her. I guess A tier is where she belongs. Moving on, we got Zarina. I think Zarina is similar to Jane here. I highly doubt she would actually do much at Deserted Island. She will most likely end up struggling, so B tier is where you are going to go. Moving on, we got Cheryl. I mean, Cheryl has survived worse than a deserted island, similar to Ash here. So I guess S tier she is going to go. Next up, we got Felix. I mean, Felix is smart. He is an intelligent guy, but I don't think he has high survivor instincts, so I definitely will struggle there. So my friend, you're going to go in D tier. Next up, we got Elodie. Elodie, I highly doubt she would actually survive. I have very low hopes for her. I think she would last like about a day, if that. So I'm going to also put you in C tier. Moving on, we got Yun. Now Yun is a music artist as producer, so I don't really see how she would manage to survive a deserted island. So C tier as well is where she is going to go. Next up, we got Jill. I mean, Jill, she has survived the worst, so I was gonna go ahead and put her in S tier. Same with Leon, he has survived way worse, so S tier is going to go as well. Next up, we got Michaela. Now Michaela, she is very smart. I guess she's kind of like a witch. So I would highly think that she would have good survivor instincts. She would probably last quite a while. So A tier is where she is going to go. Moving on, we got Yonach. Yeah, I don't see this guy ever surviving a deserted island. I'm just gonna go ahead and put you straight up there in D tier. Next up, we got Yoshi. I'm not entirely sure about this guy. I kind of have mixed thoughts about him. I think he would do well, but at the same time, I don't. I feel like he would do fine for like a couple of hours, maybe a day or two, and then he would flop. So C tier is where you are going to go. Moving on, we got Hattie. Now Hattie, I think she has some decent survivor instincts. However, I still think she would probably struggle on her own. So B tier is where she is going to go. Next up, we got Ada and I guess Rebecca as well. Both of them have survived way worse. So S tier is where these guys are going to go. Moving on, we got Vittorio. Next up, we got Talita. I mean, Talita, similar to Elodie here. I highly doubt she would survive a deserted island on her own. Maybe she would be fine with other people, but other than that, she would just end up struggling. So C tier is where she is going to go. Next up, we got Renato. Moving on, we got Gabriel. Next up, we got Nick. I mean, nothing really much to say about this guy. He would 100%, 1000% actually be okay with surviving in a deserted island. So I'm just gonna go ahead and straight up put him in S tier. Moving on, we got Ellen Ripley. I mean, she survived way worse than a deserted island, so I'm just gonna go ahead and put her straight up there in S tier as well. Moving on, we got Alan. I mean, Alan is similar to Nick and Ellen here. He has survived worse, so I'm just gonna go ahead and put him as well in S tier. Next up, we got Sable. Now, I honestly think Sable does have very good survivor instincts here, as she is also smart, so I think she would last quite a bit. But I don't think she would do as good as the people I put in S tier, so A tier is where she is going to go. Next up, we got IS3 Yazar. I am not entirely sure here. She's a character from Dungeons and Dragons, so I think she would do fine. So A tier is where she is going to go. Next up, we got Lara. Moving on, we got Trevor. Now, Trevor, he has good survivor instinct. I think he would actually do well. He's pretty smart. So A tier is where this guy is going to go. Last but not least, we got Turi. Now, I feel like she would definitely struggle on her own here. Similar to Hattie, I feel like she will survive for a bit, but nothing too crazy. So B tier is where she is going to go. But anyways, this is my ChatGPT tier list for survivors on how well they would survive a deserted island. Some of you are gonna give me my choices, some of you are gonna agree. That's how a tier list goes. Everyone has their own opinion, which is perfectly fine. But anyways, with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Have a good night, guys.